Ladies and gentlemen, the final tallies are in, and we lost $1,330.38 in the month of October 2024. I am making this on a spooky Halloween afternoon. It's kind of dark. We're getting ready to turn the clocks back again, and then, back. And this is going to be, I think, the most important monthly trade recap I have made in 2024. Actually, I would argue this is the most important one that I have made ever since doing these videos every single month. I believe I began in August of 2023. So it's been well over a year that I've been doing these recaps. And I want to first talk about there is one trade that I did not make a standalone video for, which I'll talk about first, and then we'll get into the details of the recap. So as we usually do, what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to talk about, we'll talk about that trade. Then I want to kind of talk about the stats, broad picture stats. And then what I do here on TradeZella, they have the ability to go into, not the notes, the report section, and we can dive deeper into the specifics and see my tagged trades, my different time frames I've traded, and how I performed on those time frames. And then what we can do is we can compare that to how I've done overall across the year. And so we can see how all of that is kind of shaking out as time has gone on. So that's the benefit of this video. But the interesting thing is that there are some bigger questions that I think are more important to answer as well. And I know this is not something that is widely talked about on the social media platforms. There's not, and I don't mean this in a way of like, oh, I'm so much better. Look at my stats. I am not. I am just a guy trying to figure his own shit out. That's it. I have no idea if this is the way it should be. Actually, there is no way it should be. I don't even know what I'm saying. Either way, I'm just a guy trying to figure it out. That's all that matters. But I think the problem we have on social media, and this is what I've recognized now, is surface level. There are some basic things when things are not working, right? You can go, oh, how do I manage risk? Oh, how do I change my strategy? All these different things. And you can kind of learn some approaches. Then eventually you got to get down to your own business and figure it out, right? At the end of the day, that's kind of what happens. You could try to pay someone's Discord or whatever and copy their trades, and eventually they'll fall off the face of the earth, and then now you're on your own. So it's like at the end of the day, you just got to do it yourself anyway. So that's my view. That's been my view for the past 2 years. But nobody, or there's very few, if there are, people who talk about these situations. And I think I have a very unique situation because the answer is not obvious. It plagues me, and I think I know the right way to go, and I'm going to tell you what my plan is and what I'm going to do about this going forward. But I don't really know if it's going to work. It's not like, oh yeah, people have been through this and people go through this. But it's not like this is widely talked about. And I think there's a couple reasons why. I talked about this in the past couple times, and one of those reasons is because I think a lot of people are lying to you anyway, and they're telling you how they're winning when they're really not. So they're just kind of lying to you, and it's just all a lie. Or people get to this point and then they go quiet because they have to deal with this, or they can't deal with it, and then they blow up and lose. And so you don't have a lot of people who get stuck in this point, and that's kind of how I feel. I kind of feel like I'm stuck, and we'll talk about why. So first things first, final trade of the month was a Microsoft short. This one lost me $61.68 in the $10,000 account and $154 in the $25,000 account. Both of these accounts are now in drawdown. They were up. They are now in draw. The 10K I am funded on. The 25K I am not funded on. I'm working towards it. I have never lost or failed an account yet. And I'm not really that close to losing these at all either. So we have to lose a lot in the next month to lose them, but it's possible. Either way, I just wanted to make sure that was clear that those two accounts, we are now in drawdown. Meaning like the initial balance that they started with, we are below that. So like we're not in profit at this point on those two accounts. Okay. This trade was, I'll briefly talk about it because I think it's worthwhile. And then we'll kind of get into kind of the whole deal. So if you want to skip, if you don't give a shit about this trade, just skip, a minute or two ahead. So Microsoft, we talked about in the live stream this morning, and I said I kind of liked it. And I look at the bigger picture, and I see kind of two scenarios or two situations. I see kind of the big move off the earnings, consolidation here. That consolidation breaks down. That wedge breaks down at the open. I'm like, okay, cool. So I see that, and I'm like, okay, we have, established clearly downside. And bigger picture, I'll go to that chart in a second. It looked decent. I thought a move down towards 400 made sense. I was targeting 403 or so. And once we broke the consolidation here this morning, the low of day, I thought we had a nice potential for an opportunity to go down. And we did, and then it kind of did this and this and this and this and this, and then eventually I just got out. I was like, nope, it's dead. And it actually would have hit my stop loss, or just about my stop loss shortly after that. So that was it. Not a huge winner loser, but this is kind of the situation. Not a big loser, but not a good, really just a dud. And this is kind of the situation that I've been dealing with. I feel like this month, you have momentum initially. It looks like it's there, and then it just dies. Like the momentum just dies, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. So in the case of Microsoft here today, you had the momentum off the open, a little bit of consolidation. I'm like, okay, let's see the next leg down, and then boom, and then flatline all day. I play momentum, so flatlining all day is not going to cut it for me. And that was really it. You brought it out to the bigger picture time frames, and we were breaking down below some higher lows, and we were also breaking down below this low right here, which then said to me, oh, okay, cool, we break that low. Not much on the chart until you get down towards the lower 400s. That seemed like a pretty good target in the lower 400s. So to me, it made sense. It just didn't work, and the follow-through has not been there. And also, it is a short trade, which I haven't traded very many shorts as of late. And when I do, I tend to lose because we have been in a market where it's higher lows. And when you try to short breakdowns inside of a market that's going higher lows, it doesn't usually work. It could, depending on how you play, but that's just my strategy, right? So if we all of a sudden rolled over and had a super red day at the same time, I was also looking at that too and saying, early this morning, SPY was very, very weak, and SPY was just plummeting off a cliff. Our SPY trade our SPY idea from the live stream actually would have worked, believe it or not. As SPY kind of fell off, Microsoft did fall off a bit, and then it kind of just flatlined before SPY bottomed out. So it was not even playing with that, with relative weakness there as I would have liked to see it. So it did early, and then it kind of lost it. So kind of a dud, just a dud. And that's been the story of this month. Simple as that. Okay. So we got that out the way, and now let's get into the stats. So a couple of things I think are important to talk about on the stats. First one being the P&L, obviously. No shit. $1,300. This is the worst month of the year. This is the worst month of the year. The month that was close, I was close with June. If I go back to June really quick, and I'm covering some stuff, I'll get rid of myself in a second here. Okay, here's June. I'll pop off the screen so you guys can see the whole thing. So, okay. So June, we lost about 1153. And it was not a good month, right? Profit factor of 0.61. 55 trades, though. 55 trades. Win rate 32%. Not great. 1.26 average win-loss. Okay, cool, whatever. But if you go to this month, you see, okay, we're down $1,300. Our win rate is like half. It's literally half of what it was back in June. So that's pretty bad. My average win-loss, a little bit better. I simply put just did not have like any green trades, it felt like. We had a couple that are in here. We had a trade on Bitcoin, which is a recent recap. You can go back and watch that. We had a trade on gold. So gold and Bitcoin hit. And then at the beginning of the month, so those are two kind of like standalone trades. At the beginning of the month, we had a partial profit taken on Roku. So these are gains, yes, but it was really just partial profits that I ended up taking on a position. So it ended up really like it was a small, that doesn't even, it counts obviously, but okay, cool. So it skews the average win-loss a little bit. Not skews it, but the partial profits skew it because I just simply didn't have that many green trades. So you only have a couple to go off of. So I think realistically had, you throw in an extra green trade or two, I think this is going to be, closer to 2 average win-loss, which is really good in my opinion. It's really a good number for how I view things and see things and how I've seen my stats. The problem is just this. So this is the problem, the average or the win rate. And it begs the question now, like, okay, cool. Like, what is the reasoning why? And I think there's a couple reasons or a couple thought processes, I don't know, as to why. One, it's October. We have an election in November. I do not know if this is specifically the reason why, but if you went back to October of last year, actually, I will go back to October of last year. If I'm not mistaken, I think I had a pretty good month. Let's see. October of 2023, we were up $1,300. So funny. It's like an inverse this year, but I took 65 trades, a lot of trades. I had a 51% win percentage, pretty good, right? If I had that now, I'd be like, oh fuck, that's great. A 1.65 average win loss, like just a kind of a slow and steady uptrend to the, boom, great. Like we're just hitting trades left and right. Now, what's interesting to me about this is I kind of got into this month saying, oh man, last October was great. It's going to be great. We kind of came off the August, September, choppy, not as good, less volume, boom, we're pushing at the end of the year. And it just didn't pan out that way. So you can't rely or you can't look back and say, the one thing I will say is that Augusts have not been good to me just historically. Just they have not. That's still there. Outside of that, I don't have enough data to tell you like, oh, any given month is better than this one. I don't know. I just can't tell you. But you could make the argument or the speculation that the election is playing a pretty good role in this, and the uncertainty behind the election would make sense. And at the same time, we're not getting very good trending price action. So what I mean by that is if I'm playing a breakout strategy, now the strategy works downside and upside, but inside of an uptrend, right, we're going up to the upside. There's obviously a bull market somewhere, and there clearly is a bull market in the S&P, but it's not the point. I'm not just trading longs necessarily. I would trade shorts if I got them. The problem is I have higher lows. There's no reason to go short. And a lot of this month was this. A lot of this month was in this period, which historically, in times when the market does this, I do not do well. I can literally pin this back over the past couple of months. If you were to go and look in these periods, here is a June period. June was a bad month. Here is August. August was a bad month. Here is end of September. Not a great period. There was a period early in September, early to mid September, which was good, which is this period right here. Had a couple good trades. And then after that, dead. Still made money net in the month, but not a great month. Could have been much better. This month, now there was a period in here. A little bit of trending price action right in here. You say, okay, well, what happened there? Well, look at my chart. Nothing. This week, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was home, did not trade. Didn't see anything that was a good opportunity in my opinion. I had a flight Thursday morning. On Saturday the 5th, I ran a 50-mile race in California. Came back Sunday late. Was in no position to even give a shit about the markets on Monday morning. And then just kind of let the week go by and just didn't really see much. Just kind of was very selective and didn't really see much and just took that week and said, I don't see much. I'm going to leave it alone. And so that's it. That's simple as that. Now, a lot of these in here are also swing trades. These are not just day trades. These are a lot of swing trades that I enter, then they closed out on a certain day and stuff. That's why there's some zeros, meaning those zeros are like, oh, I entered a trade that day, but I didn't close it, so it counts as a zero. Or they're calling it a zero. It doesn't count as a trade necessarily, but they're calling it a zero. So that's kind of the deal. So you go to the month and you say, well, easy to look back in hindsight, but in hindsight, when I look back at these periods, right, I can't tell you, like, here's the cool thing about this whole game. Maybe it's cool, maybe it's not. Depends on how you view it. Like, I can't tell you when we're going to have this and how long it's going to extend. I can't. Right now, we seem like we have some downside. Maybe we get some opportunity to come, to play some shorts. But then again, right now, tomorrow is Friday. The next day is Monday. Then it's Tuesday. And then it's the election. And so it's like, okay, well, and then it's Powell. So it's like, who knows? But either way, these are the time periods I know, like I can correlate them. I don't do very well. I tend to do worse. There's no saying that I can't make money in a consolidation across the bigger picture markets. I can, and I have. I've had green trades in those periods, but it's more often than not, those are the places where I will lose. That's what it's all about, because I can't tell you, I don't know which trade's going to work, but if I know we're in the consolidation, we get to break out, it's not clear, chances are we're probably going to lose. Chances are. That's just probabilities based off data. So that's the big picture. I would argue, however, that this month is actually better than June. Why? With an 18% win rate, that is horrid for me. I need that number 40-ish. 40 plus is amazing. 40-ish I'll make money. That's it. 18% not going to cut it. Obviously not going to cut it. Okay, yes, we get the point. But if you were to go back to that June period, what I think is more interesting is that win rate was 32% or 33%. I took a lot of trades back in June, and win rate was really bad. Well, not as bad, but my sizing has gone up. So what I think is notable is that, yes, it was the worst month. Not super crazy to expect that with a win rate this low. However, if one or two trades were flipped, or not even flipped, if I added one or two green trades, you're looking at anywhere in the ballpark from like $250 to $500, depending upon which accounts I trade them in terms of a positive P&L, if we get a trade that just simply works. So just enter, hits a target, done, works. Two of those, and this is not a bad month at all. You see what I'm saying? So 2 or 3 of those, maybe. Obviously, you can flip trades, which I'll talk about that in a second too. So I don't think it's that bad. It's really not that bad because, I mean, in let's say I don't say a perfect world, but let's just say I go on a 3 in a row win streak, I can make all that back. If I won 3 stock trades in a row, that would be across my 10K account and the 25K stock account. If I won 3 trades in a row, those trades are probably $400+ wins each. 3 in a row, you're talking about right in this ballpark of $1,300. So it's when you think about it, it's really just 3 trades away. Like I'm really just 3 trades off. You know what I'm saying? From a flat month. So that's not that crazy. But when I traded the amount that I traded back in June and the sizing was smaller, I was more than 3 trades away from breaking that even, right? So that's why I think it's not nearly as bad as that. And given the win rate, like I managed my risk, I think, pretty well, I would say. Okay, so let's get into the report section. And I'm already going pretty deep, but if you're watching, you're awesome. And maybe this is helpful to you. I hope it is. Either way, for me in the future, when I'm watching this video in, a year or two, how we doing? Hope we're making more money. And yeah. Okay, so here are some of the stats. I don't really care too much about some of these stats. I guess average hold time was 2 days, almost 3 days, meaning that they're all most average trade here was a swing trade. Okay, cool. Nothing crazy. Largest profit trade was 310 or 311. And then largest loss was 269. So, okay, we're losing. Biggest loss is less than our biggest win. That's good. As long as that number is in there, I'm pretty okay with that. Let's see. Let's go to the instruments that we traded. Let's see what we did. All right, sorry, I was covering the screen. So, Bitcoin on the year, great. Gold, great. Let's just go to the bottom 20. What do we got? OMG USD. If you know the story behind that, it says I lost $406. I really lost $90 on that guy. If you know the story, but technically speaking, 1 of 1 did me dirty. Whatever, is what it is. Nvidia is now into the red after this month alone. It was a green ticker, meaning I had made a lot of money on it this year. That's now red. Tesla also red. Not great, but not by a lot. Not by a lot. So funny enough, those that trade the most, they tend to be really good. They just haven't been as of late. So interesting to say the least on those guys. Let's go back to this month and let's dive into the setups. Bears and bulls, really just breakouts, breakdowns. That's really it. Obviously more bull flags than bears because we're going up and we lost more money than we, boom. But either way, 2 bear flags, and we lost 215, averaging $100 per loss, right? On those, we had 22 trades on the bull flag side. We lost 1,100. So it's not as bad. It's worse stats technically on the bear side, but one failed breakdown trade. That was a break-even trade. Okay, cool. Mistakes, didn't take profits. That was one trade. And a little bit impatient. That was also a trade. I will talk about that in a second here. Custom tags. So I'm going off my data and I'm like, yo, the daily time frame and the 4-hour time frame are telling me good things. Like if I see setups on those time frames, I'm going to take them. And I did. They just didn't work. Simple as that. This month, the 5-minute time frame didn't take as many trades there as I usually do, and that also just really 2-day trades this month. 2-day trades on the 5-minute time frame. There was a trade on the 1-hour chart, or there was one that should have been a day trade, but it was not. I held it overnight like an idiot. I just made a mistake. So boom. Okay, that's that. Now jump out to the bigger picture on the year, and 1-day charts still telling me screaming great. 4-hour charts still screaming good. 5-minute charts have now gone red, believe it or not. These are good stats though that I have. I'm happy with these stats because now we have some good. We're getting more data. Despite having some L's on the 1-day time frame, it's still telling me like we got something here. So that's good to know. Okay, so let's go back to this. That's my year to date, by the way. Chart, not great, but cool. Whatever, we're up still for now. Maybe that changes soon. Okay, let me talk about this really quick. So back to this month, I wrote a couple things down, and if you kind of have two ways to see this, I think. Is it the strategy, and me? Like, is the strategy bad, and am I operating it incorrectly, or should I make tweaks? Or is this just the market and the oscillation and a phase that we are currently in the market, and we have to just keep doing the same thing and let it blow over? And I think there's a small piece of the strategy, and I think it's a bigger piece market. This is my opinion. And I've grappled with this in the past so much because you'd think to yourself, okay, you got to change something, that's not working. Well, okay, bigger picture, it is working, technically speaking. We're still green on the year. So, and ever since I started trading the strategy, I'm even more green. So I don't think that's not the problem, in my opinion. There was a trade this month on NVDA. If I can find it, here it is. It was this trade right here, I believe. We lost, $300 and something on it, $375 or something like that. Okay, 376. I forget. You can go back to the recap. It was fairly recently, and I made the mistake where the trade was there on the 1 hour. Based on how I should have traded the setup, I should have made money. I should have had a different risk-reward profile. Should have made money on the trade. I did not. And I held it overnight, and it ended up becoming a full loser. And so the problem that I had here, I'm like, okay, well, stop. That's one trade. You didn't think much of it, okay? You lose $375. If the trade won, I was going to target around $500 in gains. So that right there is nearly a $900 P&L swing. One decision, one mistake. $900 P&L swing. Do the math. Go back in here. If you take away that 300 and something at 375 loss, because let's say I operated my strategy correctly and I didn't make that mistake. I operate the strategy correctly. The trade actually worked. So, and you take away that loss and give me the gain, that flips the P&L by $900. Now we had almost you can almost say a break even month, one trade. So when I thought of this, I was like, whoa, this is actually crazy. Think about this. Let's say that on average, and this is just kind of being, whatever. That, let me pull up my calculator here. Trusty, I'll pull it up on this so that you can see it, because I'm like, oh, what am I going to pull my phone up? Like, who cares? Let's say that you swing your P&L by $500, okay, by making less mistakes per month, let's just say. And that's not that crazy. That means realistically flipping like less than one trade on average per month. And sometimes I'll find like I messed up. I did not execute properly. That's on me. I should have. Okay, change it, get better, improve next time. If I don't make that mistake next time, this is a $400, $500 lost month or something like that, and a $600 lost month. Who cares? I mean, not that bad. Not bad at all. Like we can make that back in 2 trades. Boom, fat green. You know. So if you swing your P&L by $500 by taking a loser, that a combination of a couple things. You could avoid trading stuff that's not a good setup. I don't have a huge issue there, to be honest with you. But also taking a trade that you simply mis-executed. I didn't execute properly, turn that to execution properly, and it actually worked. You flip your P&L $500, 5 per month. Let's say you do that per month, once per month. You can make that incremental change. If you do that by 12 months, you now have a $6,000 P&L difference versus not. So when this is important is because of the sizing that I've been using. I'm not trading very, very large size. You know, the way that I trade my 10K account, 25K accounts and stuff, it's very, very conservative because I know that I could go on a losing streak as I'm kind of going on right now. And that's part of the market, part of the game. I do not want that to be the reason why I blow up when that's just part of the ebbs and flows of the market. So that is a big, like that's a decent sized number. Like if at the end of the year, I had that in the, like if that was the P&L based on my sizing, I go and look at you and I say, hey dude, like I'm planning on, you know, once I pass these accounts, I'm planning on going and buying a $200,000 account or two $200,000 accounts. So I can trade futures on that, or I can trade like gold, Bitcoin, whatever. And I can also trade stocks. And that's like in approximately like a 10x of my current sizing on average. So that's 6,000. You times that by 10 because of my just increase in sizing, let alone exact same risk reward, like conservative trades. That's a $60,000 P&L swing on a year. That is more than the average income for someone in the United States. That's where like this, and when I boil it down, like that is where it hits home, and it's like, oh, whoa. You're not crazy here, and you're not far off from like, you know, legitimately playing the game, like playing really, you know, with serious money, because a couple $1,000, a couple $100 here or there, not a big deal. You played that game and you're going at 60K on the line. Like now, whoa, that's like, you know, like that's bigger. That's, you know, salary money versus just, you know, a little side game you're kind of playing with yourself at the end of the day. So my advice to me, and the question of what's next, is I'm not going to change anything. I'm not. I'm going to continue to trade the exact same way that I have been trading. And you might say, oh, well, you're clearly losing. Well, I'm just showing you the red months. You know, you want me to go back and show you a good month? Okay, I'll go to May. And you go to May and say, well, I showed you October of last year. You go to May. And May, I was trading with substantially smaller size, mind you, back in May. Look at the sizing. 127 on the average winner, 55 on the average loser. My sizing now, on average, winners are well above $200 on average. This month is kind of skewed because I had the partial profits and only had 2 winning trades. But they're over $200 if I win. So let's say that May's stats pan out in November or December. Like we have a legitimate shot at doing a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 month. Like legitimately, not bullshit. Like not even just hyping it up saying, oh, I could. No, like that would be, if my current sizing, you took that, played it in May, I'd be like looking at a $3,000 or $4,000 month currently right now. So I caution the quickness to change things, because I don't think there's a reason to. I really don't. And I do think that we have been in a pretty choppy time and a lot of uncertainty. And I think once you get past the election, there'll be some more certainty. Will we get a better, you know, movement in the market? I don't know. We might not. We might not. There's no way to know. I can't tell you. But what I do know is the longer we chop, or the longer we consolidate, or the longer that we don't align well with my strategy, the closer we get to when things will, is all I can say. And then when things are good, I now have a better understanding of like the longer things stay good and things are working with ease. Like go back to May, I felt as if I couldn't lose. The longer that I feel like that, the more cautious I will be and the more picky I will be with my setups, essentially. And I think those slight adjustments over the long haul, like big picture over the course of a year, I think will make a decent difference. So I'm excited to see how this end of year goes. We'll see what happens. By the end of the year, we'll have more information. We'll recap all the data. And I'm going to keep doing these recaps every month. And then we'll do a year end. So it should be fun. I hope that was helpful. The platform is TradeZella, where I track everything. They make it super easy. Code TC10 saves you 10%. So if you want to use it, cool. I'm not sure what they're doing for Black Friday yet. Maybe they'll do something. They haven't done a ton of sales in the past, so they might not. If they do, cool. They will have one. Wait till then if you're looking to buy it. But if they don't, you can always save 10% with that code, and it supports the channel. And when I lose money, I'll take a little commission, an $8 commission, $10 commission. I'll take it because I need it, right? Because we're down. We're not having it. Hey, if I'm winning, I would be happy to give away the commissions. If we had a lot of commissions in a month, I'd be like, yo, and I'm cashing in. Like, hey, I'll give it away. We'll do a giveaway. I don't give a shit. I don't need it. If we're making $60K, like we said before, I give away the commissions. It doesn't matter. But that is the recap. I hope it kind of provided some more insight. I know it's not an easy one to do because people don't want to make these types of videos, but I think that my unique value proposition to the marketplace is to show this and not give a fuck about it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you got a Discord that you're paying for and a mentorship and a course and all these different things that you're like, oh my God, I gotta sustain my lifestyle living in my, freaking penthouse, whatever apartment. If I was doing that and I was sucking people dry off of like scamming or whatever, you don't have to scam, but like if I had incentive to be green all the time, then obviously you kind of do. But if I had like a high incentive for that, then it would hurt. But I don't. So I can show this and not care. And I don't think there's many people who are willing to do this, A. And then B, there's not many people who are doing this in the first place, like at all. So thanks, guys. Maybe leave a like. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.